Have you ever sat alone with a cup of coffee in the morning and wondered, is this it? Not in a sad or regretful way. Just a quiet, honest moment where you ask yourself what truly matters now. After the kids are grown, the grandkids are visiting less, and the house has finally gone quiet. What do you really need in your life? And then, perhaps this question crosses your mind, but it lingers just on the edge of your thoughts, too awkward or too bold to say out loud. Do I still need a man in my life? It's a question that can stir up a lot. Memories, fears, longings, and even laughter. You might chuckle and say, "Oh no, I've had enough of that." Or maybe there's a quiet part of you that still yearns for a hand to hold. Either way, if you're a woman over 70, this isn't just some random curiosity. It's a deeply personal moment of reckoning, and you're not alone in asking it. In this video, we're going to talk about something many women feel, but few speak openly about. What role, if any, does a man still play in your life after 70? We'll explore 5 honest, sometimes uncomfortable truths that can help you decide what's right for you. Not what the world expects. Because no matter what anyone says, this is your life, and you deserve to live it on your own terms. Let's take a breath together and start with the first truth. The first harsh truth is this: loneliness is not a man-shaped problem. We grow up being told that having someone, especially a partner, is the answer to feeling complete. But let's get real. Some of the loneliest women I've ever met were married. You can sit beside someone at the dinner table every night and still feel like no one truly sees you. You can be in a relationship and still feel completely alone. On the flip side, you can live alone and feel completely at peace. Loneliness isn't cured by sharing a bed, it's eased by meaningful connection. That connection might come from your sister, your best friend, your dog, your Sunday book club, or even from moments with yourself. Yes, you can be your own best company. And when you stop looking for someone else to fix the quiet in your life, something powerful happens. The quiet becomes yours. It becomes a space to think, to breathe, to remember who you really are beneath all the titles. Mother, wife, caregiver, daughter. So no, a man won't magically solve the ache of loneliness. And if you've made it this far in life, you already know that. What eases loneliness is being seen, being heard, and being true to yourself. And sometimes that means learning how to sit with yourself and not feel empty, but feel full. That's a kind of strength that takes time, but it's worth everything. Now, the second truth might be even harder to swallow. Not every man is a good man for you. You know this already. You've loved. You've lost. Maybe you've been lied to, let down, or made small, so someone else could feel big. And now that you're older, the idea of starting over might sound exhausting, or risky, or just plain unnecessary. But here's the tricky part. As women, especially those who've spent decades being wives or caretakers, we're often told, directly or subtly, that our value is still tied to whether or not someone wants us. That if a man shows interest, we should feel flattered. That we should say yes before we run out of time. But the truth is, you don't owe anyone your time just because they're interested. You're not here to save someone, fix someone, raise another man like he's your third child. You've done your share of compromise. And let's be honest, some of us have already survived more than one broken heart, more than one partner who didn't show up the way we deserved. So when a man comes along now, it's not about whether he chooses you. It's about whether you choose him. Does he respect your boundaries? Does he support your independence? Does he bring you peace, or does he bring noise? At this stage in life, your peace is precious. You've earned it. And anyone who threatens it, even in the name of romance, should not be let in lightly. There's a quiet kind of courage that comes with saying, I'd rather be alone than be with the wrong person. And that courage? That's wisdom wrapped in dignity. And it's beautiful. Sometimes we don't want to admit this out loud, but it's okay to say, I don't want to manage someone else's emotions anymore. I don't want to take care of a man who won't take care of himself. I don't want to shrink myself to fit into someone else's life. And that's not selfish. That's self-respect. Maybe you still want love. That's beautiful. Maybe you don't. That's beautiful too. But love at this age should never cost you your peace. And if it does, it's not worth the price. Take a moment and ask yourself gently, without pressure or shame. If someone knocked on your door tomorrow and wanted to walk into your world, would it feel like a gift or a disruption? That feeling in your gut? That's your answer. Because you've lived long enough to know that not all love is gentle and not all attention is safe. You've earned the right to choose not just whether you want companionship, but what kind of companionship you allow into your life. And that brings us naturally to the deeper, sometimes unspoken question behind all of this. If we don't need men to cure our loneliness, and if we don't want just any man, then what exactly do we need? Or do we need anything at all? Let's keep going. So if love isn't something we chase to avoid loneliness, and if not every man is right for us, then what fills the space that's left? That's where the third truth comes in, and it might surprise you. Peace can be more satisfying than passion. We're raised on stories that make love seem like fireworks, loud, dazzling, heart-racing. And sure, those moments can be beautiful. But when you're older, the kind of love you crave often shifts. It's less about the rush and more about the rhythm. Less about someone sweeping you off your feet and more about someone who doesn't knock you off balance. In your 20s or 30s, maybe love was about building a life together, raising kids, growing careers, saving for the future. But now, you've already built the house. You've already navigated the storms. What you might want most now is peace. Peace is the ability to sit in your living room in silence and feel content. It's knowing your time is your own. It's choosing what to eat, when to sleep, how to spend the afternoon, without negotiation, without compromise. It's feeling like you can exhale fully, without walking on eggshells. Passion fades, as it always does, but peace sticks around. And there's a special kind of joy that grows from peace, like tending a quiet garden instead of chasing a wildfire. If a man brings peace into your life, that's a gift. But if he brings stress, confusion, or chaos, ask yourself why you'd trade the calm you've worked so hard to earn for someone else's noise. You deserve softness now. You deserve ease. Not because you're fragile, but because you've been strong for so long. That leads us to another difficult truth. Your value has never depended on being someone's partner. This one's hard. Society doesn't always say it out loud, but it whispers it in 1,000 ways. A woman alone is often seen as incomplete, as if her life is somehow missing a final piece of the puzzle. There's that subtle pressure. Aren't you dating anyone? Don't you get lonely? Maybe you should get back out there. But here's what I want to say to you directly, with love and certainty. You are not missing anything just because you're single. Your value is not tied to whether someone else wants you. You are not less than because you sleep alone. You are not too much because you won't settle for less than you deserve. You are whole, just as you are. Being a partner to someone is one role among many, but it is not your entire identity. You are also a friend, a mother, a grandmother, a neighbor, a creator, a thinker, a survivor. You've lived through love and loss. You've built and rebuilt. You've learned, grown, and adapted. That kind of richness isn't something anyone else gives you. It's something you've earned. And whether or not there's a man beside you now doesn't make you more or less complete. You complete yourself. Sometimes it helps to say that out loud. Go ahead if you want. Say it with me. I am whole, just as I am. Because after a certain age, we don't need external approval. We need inner alignment. And if you're someone who still wants companionship, that's wonderful. But let that desire come from abundance, not from a fear of being alone. There's a big difference between needing someone and wanting someone. When we need someone, it often comes from fear. Fear of quiet, fear of aging, fear of being invisible. But when we want someone, it comes from choice, from a place of strength, from already feeling fulfilled in ourselves and saying, yes, I'd enjoy sharing this joy with someone, but I don't need them to create it for me. That's a powerful shift. And it brings us to something else worth talking about. Sometimes, when we get older, we start wondering if we've missed our chance, if the door to love has closed, if we're too late. But let me tell you a truth that can free you. You are not too late for anything that's still meant for you. Life doesn't run on a timeline. There is no deadline for joy, no expiration date on connection. And just because your story hasn't unfolded like someone else's, doesn't mean it's any less beautiful. Whether you're 70, 75, or 85, you still get to decide what you want, what you're open to, and what you leave behind. You still get to try something new or say no to something old. You still get to fall in love with someone, with yourself, with a new routine, or a new morning ritual. You still get to write your story. And maybe that story includes a man, or maybe it doesn't. Maybe it includes quiet Sunday mornings with a crossword puzzle and the radio humming. Maybe it includes dancing in your kitchen, or learning to paint, or laughing on the phone with your best friend of 40 years. Maybe it includes late-night cocoa, cozy socks, and watching the snow fall without having to answer to anyone. Whatever your story is, make sure you're the one holding the pen. You're not here to fill someone else's idea of a happy ending. You're here to build your own kind of peace. And peace doesn't always come with a partner. Sometimes it comes when you stop looking for one. And if love shows up later, wonderful. Let it be gentle. Let it complement your life, not rearrange it. Let it add light to a room that's already warm, not become the only source of heat. You have every right to protect your energy, your time, and your space, especially now. By now, you may be thinking, is it selfish to want space? Is it wrong to choose peace over partnership? Am I giving up too soon, or maybe not enough? If you've ever wrestled with those questions in the quiet of your own heart, let me share one last truth, one that often takes a lifetime to accept. There's a difference between giving up and letting go. Giving up is what the world assumes you've done when you stop chasing something it says you should have. Letting go is something else entirely. It's not quitting. It's not settling. It's realizing that what once served you might no longer fit the life you're living today. Letting go is choosing to stop reaching backward and to start living forward. For some women over 70, letting go means releasing the belief that they need a man to feel loved, to feel relevant, to feel seen. Because what if you already are all of those things? What if the kind of love you seek now isn't in a romantic relationship, but in the gentle way you speak to yourself? In the care you give your body? In the boundaries you no longer apologize for? What if love, at this stage of life, looks less like fireworks, and more like a steady flame that you keep lit on your own? You see, this stage isn't about proving anything to anyone, not to your friends, not to your family, not even to your younger self. You've earned the right to change your mind. You've earned the right to want something different. And you've absolutely earned the right to protect your peace above all else. Letting go doesn't mean you've given up on love. It means you've redefined it. And you get to do that now. You get to shape what love means in your world. Maybe love means walking by the ocean with no one but your thoughts. Maybe it's the sound of your favorite record playing while you cook for one. Maybe it's the letter you write to yourself before bed, or the laughter you share with an old friend who's known you since your 20s. Maybe it's in your garden. Maybe it's in your church. Maybe it's in your own heart, right where it's always been. And sure, there might be days when you miss having someone there, a voice in the next room, a hand to reach for when something beautiful or terrible happens. That's okay. It doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. But the strength comes in knowing that even on those days, you're not empty. You're not broken. You're whole, even in the longing. And if companionship does come, if you do meet someone who brings kindness, calm, and a shared sense of joy, that's a gift. But it should be a bonus, not a necessity. Because you are not waiting to be completed. You are already whole. There's a beautiful kind of freedom in that. In no longer dating out of fear. In no longer shrinking yourself for someone else's comfort. In not needing to explain your choices to anyone who hasn't lived your story. Let me ask you something, woman to woman, soul to soul. Have you spent enough of your life asking, what do they need from me? Maybe now it's time to ask, what do I need from me? Your needs matter. Your joy matters. Your voice matters. And if today you feel clear, steady, and confident in your decision to live life on your terms, without chasing a partner, without needing to belong to someone, then celebrate that. Because that's not loneliness. That's liberation. And if tomorrow you feel different, if you want someone to walk beside you again, that's okay too. Just promise yourself you won't settle for less than you deserve. You've come too far, lived too much, and grown too wise to compromise your peace for temporary comfort. The truth is, this journey, your journey, is entirely yours. And that's the final freeing truth. You get to choose. You get to choose if you want companionship or solitude. You get to choose if you open your heart again or gently close it to protect the peace you've found. You get to choose what love looks like for you now, not what it looked like 30 years ago, not what your friends are doing, not what your family hopes for, not what society expects. You get to choose your joy. And that choice, it's not just enough, it's everything. So if this video spoke to something in you, I want to invite you to do something powerful. Share your truth in the comments. Tell us, what has love meant to you after 70? Have you chosen peace? Have you found companionship again? Or are you still figuring it all out? No matter where you are, your story can lift someone else up. And your words might be exactly what another woman needs to hear today. If this message made you feel seen, please give the video a like. It helps more women find this space and feel a little less alone. And don't forget to subscribe to Strong Elderly Life. This is a place where we talk honestly, gently, and bravely about the questions that matter most in this season of life. You deserve that kind of space. You deserve that kind of community. Until next time, remember this. You don't need anyone else to tell you who you are. You are already wise, already whole, already enough. Here's to living your truth, protecting your peace, and choosing what fills you up at any age. You're not too late. You're right on time.